and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And tomorrow night, live on the WWE Network, a Destroyer will go one-on-one with a Samoan who has had an incredible losing streak as of lately in a battle for supremacy. Also, a Viper will go one-on-one with a charismatic champion for the United States Championship. And finally, a phenomenal world champion will go one-on-one with the King of Strong Style, the exact same man who betrayed him, who disrespected him in a no disqualification match for the world crown of SmackDown Live. But before it's time for that charismatic champion to defend his title against the Viper, before it's time for the King of Strong Style and that phenomenal world champion to battle in a no disqualifications match, before it's time to face the Backlash, it's time for the rundown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another video right here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the official rundown for WWE co-branded pay-per-view Backlash, which is, of course, streaming live on the WWE Network tomorrow night, May 6th, from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, with the pre-show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, it has had a very lackluster build. It would not be WWE if a pay-per-view did not have a lackluster build. But I'm going to give Backlash a chance because more likely than not, the pay-per-views that have a lackluster build, a pay-per-view that has been made out to be extremely unimportant and extremely underwhelmed, it turns out to be one of the best pay-per-views of the year. I mean, just look at Fastlane. Fastlane had a terrible build, an awful build, a horrendous build, an atrocious build. But the pay-per-view top to bottom was great. The only thing that I had a problem with in the entire card is the fact that Bobby Roode lost the United States Championship, and I thought that he could have held it a hell of a lot longer. WrestleMania, we all know, was a huge letdown. Asuka lost her streak. Jinder Mahal frickin' won the United States Championship. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax had a longer match than John Cena and The Undertaker. Vince McMahon told AJ Nakamura to tone it down so as to not outshine Lesnar and Roman. And Lesnar and Roman had a terrible main event. So that is 3 years in a row now that Roman Reigns has been involved in some of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time with Triple H, The Undertaker, and Lesnar. Back to back to back. But regardless of all that, I'm not going to sleep on Backlash. In fact, let's get straight into the matches. So, actually, this match was announced yesterday for the pre-show. It is going to be Bayley versus Ruby Riot. The match that Ruby Riot had with Sasha Banks on Monday Night Raw was very, very good, and I expect the exact same from Ruby Riot and Bayley. Bayley and Sasha Banks, of course, the two best female performers on Monday Night Raw, and Bayley's going to bring another great match out of Ruby Riot. I really do expect Ruby Riot to get the win, since Bayley already has something going for her with Sasha Banks, although it is really dead now because WWE seemingly gave up on it, like they gave up on everything else. They gave up on the Riot Squad, they gave up on Jinder Mahal, and because Jinder Mahal now, he's taken a lot of losses as well as Roman Reigns, so Jinder Mahal is going into jobber territory again. Good, we don't need him anymore. But as it relates to Bayley and Ruby Riot, it should be a very good match. A nice way to kick off the show. Interesting clash of styles, and I expect Ruby Riot to walk out victorious. Further enhancing Ruby Riot and her character, I really hope they break up the Riot Squad sooner rather than later. I cannot stand the Riot Squad. Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, they really need to go off on their own, and they really need to improve. Ruby Riot, She's great where she is right now. She had a great performance against Sasha, great performance against Charlotte, and she could very well have an even better performance against Bayley at Backlash tomorrow. The main show. Let's start off by talking about Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. This storyline has been terrible. My God, it's going to give me another concussion. I know I've been saying that a lot as of lately, but it really is. I'm really just looking for this storyline to be over with. I cannot stand Alexa Bliss. I really think she really needs to take a few steps down the ladder. And I can just only hope that this is a squash. I just want Nia Jax to squash Alexa Bliss within 3 minutes and be done with it. Just be done with it. Have Nia Jax go up against Sasha Banks, Ruby Riot, or Bayley. Much better than Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss. Maybe Nia Jax and Ember Moon. That would be a great match. I see nothing coming out of this match. It's going to be a dud. It is going to be horrible, just like it was at WrestleMania. My only plea is that it will be quicker than WrestleMania. Nia Jax to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. This match is the only match on the Backlash card that really has nothing behind it. It doesn't even belong on the Backlash card. Though other storylines have been terrible. Other matches such as Bliss and Nia Jax and Roman and Samoa Joe, Rollins and The Miz, Hardy and Orton, though they've had lackluster builds or terrible builds, they're still builds, and they still have storyline behind them. There is nothing behind this tag team match with Lashley, Strowman, Owens, and Zayn. I mean, my only hope is that it will be a good match. This is actually one match that I would encourage should kick off the show, because no one's really going to care about it, and that way they'd get it out of the way. Hopefully we get some good wrestling. That's all I can ask for. All I want is some good wrestling. This is why I watch WWE, because I love wrestling. I hope that we get some good wrestling out of this tag team match. I really see nothing coming out of it except for Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman to walk out victorious. Knowing WWE, they'll do a complete 180 and have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn get the win. Strowman needs the victory here. Plus, Bobby Lashley, he isn't losing anytime soon since he just came back to WWE. Braun Strowman, he needs the win because he is the right guy to take down Lesnar. And I think that is going to be the route that they're going to be going a little bit into the future. I don't know if it's at Money in the Bank because there have been plans to push Elias into that position to fight Lesnar. But regardless, it should happen sooner rather than later for Strowman. So I'm going to call Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman to get the victory here. Let's talk about the United States Championship match between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. This is the first time that these two are facing since their great match at the Rumble of 2008 for the WWE Championship. I watched that match on the WWE Network. That was actually before I got into wrestling. I got into wrestling later that year. This should be a very, very, very good wrestling match. This is another match that I think should kick off the show. I think this match is going to have some very interesting spots, some great wrestling. I expect Randy Orton to bring his A game. Same for Jeff Hardy. And Jeff Hardy has done very well so far since he came back. Randy Orton really does not need this win. Randy Orton is in a prime spot where he is like John Cena and he needs to put over talent. Randy Orton does not need the win here in any way, shape, or form. He does not need to win the United States Championship. Jeff Hardy, I've pitched the idea of having Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas at SummerSlam because, A, that would be great for both men. It would be great for Almas because it would give him his first major championship feud on a big stage like SummerSlam. It would do the United States Championship wonders. Having two superstars of that caliber fight for that title would make that title even more prestigious. So, Jeff Hardy really needs this win. And in between, I expect Jeff Hardy to face off against guys like maybe Samoa Joe. You can throw him in there. You can throw maybe Big Cass. You could throw, obviously, Almas. All roads should lead to Almas at SummerSlam. Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas at SummerSlam. If WWE passes up on that opportunity, then they're going to be doing something sorely wrong at SummerSlam with the United States title. And I know, more likely than not, they are going to pass up that opportunity because WWE rarely does anything right. But if we're talking about Backlash, the best thing that they can do is have Jeff Hardy retain over Randy Orton. End of conversation. Let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship match. I really haven't seen too much from Carmella. She really hasn't had a decent singles match in quite some time. I can only pray that I see a good match between Carmella and Charlotte, because that's really all I want. I want Carmella to be taken seriously. So far, she's been doing good and acting like a cocky bitch. Right now, she really needs to step up her game because she's in there with Charlotte. Charlotte is a great in-ring performer. We all know that. So hopefully she is able to bring Carmella to her best match to date, because Carmella's best match was, ironically, against Nikki Bella back at TLC in 2016 on December 4th, when SmackDown Live was the A show at that time. But as far as Backlash goes, I can see Carmella retaining, and Carmella should drop the title to Asuka at Money in the Bank. Therefore, Asuka, she can hold the title all the way through SummerSlam, all the way through Survivor Series, and they have a big opportunity with Asuka as SmackDown Women's Champion should Carmella drop the title to Asuka at Money in the Bank. Because what they have is a potential dream match on their hands between Asuka and Kairi Sane at WrestleMania. Basically, Asuka can run through everyone on SmackDown Live, basically saying that there's nobody else. Kairi Sane can debut after she lost the NXT Women's Championship, probably either in December or in January, is when Kairi Sane would lose the title to someone maybe like a Nikki Cross or a Bianca Belair or, Lacey Evans, somebody like that. But I really expect Bianca Belair or Nikki Cross to be the one to take it away from Sane once Sane beats Baszler at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Sane can come out, and Sane and Asuka could have a phenomenal women's match at WrestleMania. It would really do the SmackDown Women's Championship good. Charlotte's gonna be busy with Ronda Rousey. Charlotte could win the Royal Rumble. She goes on to face Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship in the future. But as far as Backlash goes, Carmella really needs to retain in order to start all of this up. Carmella retaining would start this whole chain reaction. Now, I'm not sure WWE would go in that certain chain reaction because, like I said, when has WWE ever done anything right consistently? That is a consistent storyline that you have to follow through week by week by week, month by month by month. And I do not trust WWE to do so. Why? Look at what they've done in the past. We've been getting 6-woman tag matches, 8-women tag matches, 10-women tag matches. Enough with the women's tag team matches. I'm really sick of the women's tag team matches week by week by week by week. And it's really not just with the women, it's with the men too. Why do you think Backlash said such a poor build? Nothing but tag team matches week in and week out. Like I said before, let's get some cruiserweights. Get some cruiserweights on Monday Night Raw. After what Drew Gulak and Kalisto did, you put that on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. That will certainly make a show watchable. But Carmella needs the win. Carmella needs to retain, and she needs to drop it to Asuka at Money in the Bank. Carmella to beat Charlotte. I don't know how, because when was the last time Charlotte lost clean? But I'm still taking Carmella in this instance. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. The promo that Big Cass cut on SmackDown a couple weeks ago was very, very, very good. And they basically killed all that momentum by having him beat up a midget after it's been done numerous times before. My only hope is that this match will also be a good wrestling match. I don't really expect too much from either men because Daniel Bryan, he's really never worked with Big Cass, so he really can't figure out a way to gel with Big Cass so quickly. I mean, the only person that can gel with someone at the snap of a fingers that I know is AJ Styles. I can't really say the same about Daniel Bryan, but I'm not going to discredit Daniel Bryan because I am a big fan of him. We are going to see how it plays out. Big Cass, as a heel, is very good, and I can see Big Cass getting the win here, shockingly. Daniel Bryan does not need the win. Daniel Bryan is already slated for a feud with The Miz later on in the year, going into WrestleMania 35. So, Daniel Bryan, he really doesn't need the win. Big Cass really needs the win in order to put himself on the map as a top heel. And then you could put those two in a match on SmackDown. You could have Bryan get his win back, and then you can have the rubber match on SmackDown, and then you could put those two in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I would not mind seeing those two in the Money in the Bank ladder match, along with maybe The Miz, maybe Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, maybe Samoa Joe, maybe Almas. You never know. But as we speak, if Big Cass is to be taken seriously as a top heel on SmackDown Live, he needs that win against Daniel Bryan to propel himself into main event caliber status. I hope it's a good match. I really do hope it's a good match. The build was really taken away by that horrible segment with Big Cass and that French midget dressed up like Daniel Bryan. It would have been much better if Daniel Bryan actually came out and he started fighting against Big Cass. That would have made the build even better. It would create some tension. It would create some intensity. I mean, come on. How many times do you have to repeat the whole midget small guy thing? Where a big guy's picking on a smaller guy and then he brings out a midget dressed like that smaller guy. It's been done over and over and over again. But as far as the match goes, should be a decent match. I expect Big Cass to come out victorious. Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. This has the potential to be match of the night, based off the fact that The Miz is a great performer in the ring, and same goes for Seth Rollins. Matter of fact, Seth Rollins is the best in-ring performer on Monday Night Raw, and Seth Rollins is rightfully getting what he deserves, a singles mid-card title reign with the Intercontinental title to bring prestige to the Intercontinental title. He has been riding a huge wave of momentum since WrestleMania. With that win, he defeated Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and The Miz at the Greatest Royal Rumble. He defeated Finn Balor on Monday. He is doing the Intercontinental Championship good. And I can see no different with The Miz at Backlash. I can see Seth Rollins having a very good match, a very competitive match with The Miz. And I can see Seth Rollins going into a feud with perhaps a heel Bobby Roode. Maybe they turn Finn Balor heel. I'm not completely sure. Maybe they have Chad Gable. Maybe Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan's coming back. I reported that on my show, the Lightning Flash Update, yesterday. Jason Jordan could come back, and he could feud with Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship as a heel. That would be a great damn match. They could do Chad Gable. You could bring back the Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge. I would like to see people like Gable and No Way Jose and Zack Ryder. I'd like to see those guys face off against Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title. It would do the Intercontinental Championship damn good. Would do it damn good. Baron Corbin, he's one of the main guys that I picked for WWE to have win the title from Seth Rollins, mainly because of the fact that Vince is high on Baron Corbin, and he moved Corbin to Monday Night Raw because he is slated for a big push. If this is factual, then I can definitely see Baron Corbin winning the title from Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Seth Rollins needs to have a long, lengthy reign with this title and then drop it to a young and up-and-comer, maybe heel Bobby Roode. Maybe they have that feud going into the summer. I would not mind that. But if we're talking about Backlash, I'm calling Seth Rollins to defeat The Miz in a very good match, possibly the match of the night, and Seth Rollins continues his wave of momentum going into the summer as Intercontinental Champion. Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. This is another contender for match of the night. And yes, all of you Roman marks Yes, all of you know lives that have nothing better to do than come at me for criticizing Roman Reigns. Though I do not like the way that his character has been booked, he is a decent wrestler, and he has put on some decent matches, some good matches, some great matches in the past. Some have been with Samoa Joe. He could very well do the same. But what I do not want to see, is Samoa Joe beating Roman down for 90% of the match, and then Roman comes back with a spear, Superman punch, clothesline, Samoan drop, those four moves, and then Samoa Joe is beaten. That's what I do not want to see. I do not want to see Samoa Joe beaten with 4 moves. I want to see a very good match, an intense match, a competitive match, and I want to see Samoa Joe choke out Roman Reigns with the Coquina Clutch. You have a lot of options should Samoa Joe win. You could have Samoa Joe go into a feud with AJ Styles, not for the WWE title, because I think Nakamura is slated for that position. You could do a triple threat match for the WWE title at Money in the Bank between Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. That would be a great WWE Championship match for Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank was originally set to be one of the big 5 pay-per-views before WWE had the idea to make all pay-per-views co-branded. So there's an idea for you. You can throw Samoa Joe in a feud with Daniel Bryan. You could throw Samoa Joe in a feud with Jeff Hardy or Randy Orton. A lot of interesting feuds there for Samoa Joe. But as far as Backlash goes, I want to see a great match, and I want to see Samoa Joe win by choking out Reigns with the Coquina Clutch. And to be quite honest, it really doesn't matter how he wins. I just want Samoa Joe to win. Roman Reigns does not need this win. Roman Reigns is on a losing streak. Roman Reigns needs to work his way back up the ladder, but not at Samoa Joe's expense. Roman Reigns needs to start off small. He needs to start off fresh on Monday Night Raw after a loss to Samoa Joe at Backlash. And finally, the match that should be the main event, the original and the real main event of WrestleMania, though it wasn't that good, it is now slated, or it should be slated, to be the main event of Backlash. Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship in a no disqualifications match. I expect better than WrestleMania. The Greatest Royal Rumble was a lot better, and I expect better than the Greatest Royal Rumble. Because it's no disqualification, they can use weapons, they could use chairs and tables, they can use whatever the hell they want. I expect to get a very good match, possibly one of the match of the years, or one of the matches of the year, a match of the year candidate, a match of the night candidate. I expect AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura to beat the hell out of each other, and I expect Nakamura to win. Whether it's by a low blow or not, Nakamura needs the championship victory. Nakamura cannot lose in this instance. He shouldn't have lost his first opportunity against Jinder Mahal of all people. 5 championship matches later, and he's still trying to get the WWE title. No matter how good AJ is, and let me tell you something, AJ is great. He is phenomenal. He is the best in the world in every sense of the word, but Shinsuke Nakamura needs the title more. Shinsuke Nakamura needs to win the title. He needs to have a lengthy reign with it until SummerSlam. He needs to drop it to either The Miz or a top babyface. Maybe Daniel Bryan, maybe not. Maybe he drops it to Joe. Maybe he drops it to Orton. There's a lot of options that we have there, but Nakamura cannot lose at Backlash. AJ, as much as I love AJ, and as much as he deserves the championship, and he really does, he has deserved that championship since day one when he walked into that company. But he does not need the championship. AJ is one of those people where he does not need to be the champion in order to remain relevant. Shinsuke Nakamura, we already saw Nakamura's relevancy fade when he lost to Jinder Mahal, and he had to work his way back up the ladder. Nakamura needs to win, and I expect Nakamura to deliver the Kinshasa and win the WWE Championship in that no DQ match at Backlash. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rundown. I would like to thank each and every one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the DJ Storms. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash update that I posted yesterday. Do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash update next week. And I will be tweeting live tomorrow night on the WWE Network for Backlash. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and this has been The Rundown. You have a great weekend, and enjoy Backlash.